Ross Bolen Podcast.
You better listen.
Welcome back to the Ross Bolen Podcast, otherwise known as RBP, presented by Bolen Media. I am your host, Ross Bolen, back, as always, with your co-host, Chris Coulson. It is Shark Week. Coles, are you a Shark Week guy?
I'm not at all. Not a single bit.
Why is that?
Well, first of all,
Are you
the Shark
anti-shark?
Week- No, not at all. I'm very pro-shark. I love sharks. I
Okay.
think that's why I don't like Shark Week, because I think sharks should be given more respect as, like, a gentleman of the sea that can get angry sometimes,
Sure.
as needed. Just like, it's like The Sopranos. Sharks are kind of like the mafia of the sea. They're like the tough guys that are in charge of everything. You just don't want to piss them off.
Yeah, and if you sign up for the shark lifestyle, you have to be willing to, take a bite. Just like with The Sopranos, you have to be willing to take a hit.
Yeah, exactly. Also, specific beef with Shark Week in and of itself. There's no way that shit only happens once a year. I don't believe it. There's no way in hell. I swear I see Shark Week commercials like twice a month.
Yeah, it's kind of the only thing Discovery has going.
Yeah. What is there anything else that you watch on Discovery?
No, which is why I sold my Discovery stonks.
Wait, are you a Shark Week guy?
No, I'm
Okay.
a massive anti-Shark Week guy.
Because of the sharks or because of the premise?
Because of the premise, and more so, it's like my beef with Shark Week originates from several years of watching it,
Sure.
being a part of the hype,
Okay.
and then finding that it's the same damn recycled footage, and then these weak-ass, the reenactments are what kill me.
Got you.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
It'll be like a surfer, like, getting his foot bit off, but obviously you don't get to see dude get pitted and then get bitted. It's just a reenactment, and they're always incredibly lame. And, like,
And they're also like peak 2006 reenactments.
Yes.
They've been using the exact same one for the last 15 years.
so much recycled footage. And, like, Planet Earth exists,
Yeah.
and, like, we can watch shark docs whenever we want in
Of real
2020
sharks, like
on
chilling in-
streaming services. Like,
Chilling in their own environments. When we go in the ocean, we are entering the shark's domain, all right? We are their guest. We must treat them with respect, and sometimes they might bite back. We got to understand that. I want to go watch some
bite
sharks.
back. You gonna bite one?
Well, no. But
You
if I
shouldn't.
did,
You
then they
shouldn't.
probably would bite back still.
And it would be totally
Also, don't
Validated.
people like fish for shark fins and stuff like that over in Asia? I feel like that's a thing.
I want to say Japan.
So they have means for revenge. I can't blame them for that. I'm
feel
just
like-
a human swimming in their house. How would you feel if a shark hopped in your house? How would you feel?
I'd have to pull out the 12 gauge
Or the golden Glock,
or the golden Glock. You can't have sharks up in your house.
little nose boop. I've
Nah.
heard the nose boops do them well.
And here's the thing. I'm not anti-shark. Like,
At
I'm a
all.
shark lover. I've been swimming with a bunch of massive nurse sharks in the BVIs. It was incredible. Sharks are dope as fuck. I'm a certified shark boy, you could say. But the execution of Shark Week,
Yeah.
subpar.
Also, if you're gonna have Shark Week, you at least need to show Shark Boy and Lava Girl once.
At
It's
least
not
once.
on there at all.
Not
no
even included.
respect given for a young Taylor Lautner. At all.
Absolutely insane. Makes no sense.
It's disgusting.
And it's the overhype of Shark Week. And I know we have listeners who are obsessed with Shark Week. And I'm not trying to shit on your favorite week of the year. But if it is your favorite week of the year, I ask you to reconsider your stance on Shark Week. Are you buying into it simply because of the hype?
It has to be simply because of the hype.
To fit in with not the herd, the school of fish.
The pack.
Is that what you're doing? You shouldn't do that. RBP 321 is brought to you by Raycon. Whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want what you're listening to be what you're listening to, not your girlfriend or your roommate or whatever the shit, whoever's around you, whatever they're listening to. Everybody needs a great pair of wireless earbuds, but before you go dropping hundreds of dollars on a pair, you need to check out the wireless earbuds from Raycon. You already know Raycon earbuds start at about half the price of any other premium wireless earbuds on the market, and they sound just as amazing as the top audio brands you know. Their newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds, their best ones yet. I have a pair with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise-isolating fit. Their earbuds are very comfortable, perfect for conference calls or for binging podcasts. I really dig these. I've been jogging with them, played basketball with them, done CrossFit with them, and what's important to me with earbuds is that they're both comfortable and that they sound good, but most importantly that they stay in my damn ear when I'm active, and Raycon accomplishes all those things. Unlike some of your other wireless options, Raycon earbuds are both stylish and discreet. No dangling wires or stems to distract anyone during video calls, which we're all on now. You've heard me talking about how the company was co-founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Snoop Dogg and Iron Mike Tyson are obsessed with Raycons. Pick up a pair, see what all the hype is about. Now's the time to get the latest and greatest from Raycon. Get 15% off your order, RBP gang, when you go to buyraycon.com/Ross. That's BUYRAYCON, buyraycon.com/Ross. 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds, buyraycon.com/Ross. Time for some announcements and shouts quickly before we move into our first segment. YouTube.com/Bolen Media. You can watch episodes on YouTube. If you want to see our shining faces while we talk, of course you can listen on Apple Podcasts. Of course you can listen on Spotify and SoundCloud, but watch on youtube.com/Bolen Media, where every Monday and Wednesday episode of RBP is uploaded for your viewing pleasure. In other viewing news, we have a streaming schedule now for Twitch. Twitch.tv/Boss Rolen, BOSSROLEN, is where you can catch Coles and I going live 3 times a week. We have 3 scheduled streams a week now. It's not to say that we might perhaps not do an extra one here or there, but Sunday, Monday, and Thursday at 7 p.m. Central every week, we'll be live on twitch.tv/BossRolen. Our schedule is from 7 to 10:30 p.m. Central, Sunday, Monday, Thursday, live on twitch.tv/BossRolen. And if something changes in that schedule, we will announce in the RBP Gang Discord server. If you don't know what that is, tune into one of the streams. You will quickly find out. Discord is essentially like Slack, except we have over 750 members in the RBP Gang in there now at this point, with all manner of different channels, from serious discussions and life stuff to a channel that's specifically dedicated to stoner activity, others for news, stonks, fitness, health, pet pictures. The RBP Gang Discord is phenomenal. Come through twitch.tv/BossRolen Sunday, Monday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Central every single week. Get in that Discord server. If you play Call of Duty, if you play Warzone, we often bring in podcast listeners to play with us. Twitch.tv/BossRolen. Tune in to find out how you can get in a game with us. It's quite simple. At this point, every time Coles and I hop on, we have like 7 to 10 members of the RBP Gang that we rotate in and out with us. It's a ton of fun. We're having a blast. Also, a new streaming PC showed up yesterday, finally. We have the most powerful computer money can buy in the entire world, it turns out.
We bought it.
We bought it.
It just said most powerful, buy now. And
yeah.
we just bought
I just
now.
clicked the buy now button and it showed up, and now Coles and I both have great streaming PCs, great gaming PCs to play on. All is well in the realm of twitch.tv/BossRolen. Come through and see all the progress we've made. We're over 1,000 subscribers now. It has become a very real revenue stream for Bolen Media, and we are so stoked about that. Over almost 800 hours of gameplay invested. We have made it. And if you don't know, like 1,000 subscribers, that's like legit, like full-time streamer numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's crazy. People who do this full-time.
That's enough to make a yearly livable salary off of.
It is, and it has become very, very important to us, and we have a blast doing it as well, just like we do with the podcast. Important wing of Bolen Media, twitch.tv/BossRolen. Happy 23rd birthday to Allison, coming August 16th. Happy birthday, Campbell White, coming August 14th. Coles, you have a special birthday shout-out today.
I do.
To whom?
My sister's birthday is this week. So happy birthday, Kylie.
Hey.
I hope you. She just moved into college for the first time.
Congratulations and happy birthday.
So Kylie, enjoy your birthday. I hope you live it up out there. Miss you, kid. Be safe.
How about that? What a sweet birthday wish from a brother to his sister. And on that very wholesome note, we will move into our first segment. It's house party season, baby.
Rager time.
All right, this is some news from, pretty much everywhere. We saw it on CNN this morning, but here's an article from Yahoo News that I pulled that I found some funny excerpts from. With Los Angeles nightclubs closed, party promoters have turned to mansions in the Hollywood Hills to throw lavish, raucous, and sometimes deadly gatherings that have enraged neighbors and local officials. Starting this weekend, Mayor Eric Garcetti has granted emergency powers to utility workers to cut electricity and water at sprawling homes dotted around the famous Hollywood sign that have, quote, essentially become nightclubs, end quote, during the coronavirus pandemic. Now, obviously bars, nightclubs, they're all shut down,
They're
right?
yeah, they're
Or
gone right
limited
now.
capacity.
Most of them in LA, I believe, are probably still shut down. But some places are starting to see limited capacity. But regardless,
Yeah, people need somewhere to rage.
apparently,
Some people, apparently. And they've turned to these homes in the Hollywood Hills in Los Angeles, at least in that region, obviously. Now, it gets a little crazier from here. Here's a quote. The consequences of these large parties ripple far beyond just those parties. They repeat throughout our entire community because the virus can quickly and easily spread, warned one of the guys I interviewed here. But infection is not the only fatal risk. Last Monday, beneath roaring TV news helicopters, police arrived at a mansion off the famous Mulholland Drive packed with young partygoers. In the ensuing chaos, gunshots rang out and one person was killed.
Oh. First of all,
Got to fight for your right to
lavish-
party.
lavish, raucous, and sometimes deadly gatherings sounds like the entire premise for HBO's hit classic Euphoria.
It does.
That's how it started.
What a great first season Euphoria had. We covered it on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, one of my favorite TV shows
That's
of
kind of
2019.
that's kind of the point of society we've gotten to now. Everything's just trippy visuals and people on drugs everywhere.
Look at this. The house involved in the deadly shooting is advertised as a retreat for feng shui and environmentalism. Its social media accounts carry videos of Brazilian dancers and scantily clad waitresses serving champagne. Most of these parties are not run by the homeowners, but by nightclub promoters who rent the mansions out for the night, said LAPD Hollywood Captain Steve Lurie. First of all, being the LAPD Hollywood Captain is a tight title.
That would be pretty tight.
Congratulations to Steve. Second of all, the fact that nightclub owners are like, all right, well, I'm not making any money right now, and I've got to get the bag somehow. Fuck it. Let's start renting out mansions in the Hollywood Hills. Because, you know, the Hollywood Hills, man, it's like some of the people live there, but most of them are these very rich celebrities that are not there full time.
Or they live outside of the hills that come into the hills for the nightlife, the scene, everything like that, coming in to party and rage and everything like that, which arguably makes this significantly worse because if everybody lived in the hills, at least it's somewhat contained, but I guarantee you there's people there that drove 50, 60 miles that night just to come to that party.
Here's a quote from LAPD Hollywood Captain Steve Lurie. The same promoters have figured out, well, wait a second, I can jump on Airbnb, spend $10,000 a night for a Hollywood Hills mansion, and sell tickets and promote the party just like if it was a nightclub. It's exactly the same thing, except now my nightclub has an unobstructed view of Los Angeles and a beautiful swimming pool. So they're charging entrance fees, they're running cash bars, these parties are organized by secret mailing lists and word of mouth.
Yeah.
It's like that movie, what the fuck was that movie? It was like, it had an X in it.
This is kind of like the Prohibition all over again. It's just a little, instead of speakeasies, we now have massive LA mansion ragers.
Project X.
Yeah.
Did you see that movie?
Oh, yeah. You know I saw that movie.
That's what
that
this
was part of
reminds
my
me of.
high school culture. Everybody had to see that movie. A midget jumped out of the oven, Ross.
It was
How
incredible.
could you not see that movie?
The little person in the oven was one of the classic moments in that movie.
One of the classic moments in cinema in the 2010s.
What a ridiculous film. I saw that in theaters. Nobody knows why.
So hot take here, is nightclub culture over, dead, done, never coming back? Because, hear me out, if COVID was not a thing, I would much rather go rage at some massive house party overlooking all of LA with lions, tigers, bears, oh my, and strippers and feng shui.
Brazilian dancers and all kinds of good stuff.
You can get your chakras aligned, get hammered, and look at LA from the up in the hills.
Unobstructed view.
Why would you not do that other than go to a bar where people are doing blow in the VIP section and you're getting stripper money all over your hands and stuff like that? You don't need those germs. You need a nice, clean mansion.
One invitation sent for an underground Prohibition-era theme party last weekend promised a, quote, private, multi-level, 100% outdoor venue.
100% is the new thing. Guarantee you, COVID might leave, but why would you, this is sick. Other than breaking all of the guidelines and not being safe at all. Don't do this now, folks. I'm just saying. But for future, my good vibes in me, I guarantee you party promoters are just going to start renting out mansions and then doing this secretive prohibition style speakeasy thing. It's sick. It honestly is pretty sick. I got to be honest. Although, again, I just want to make it very clear, it should not be occurring at this moment.
Sure.
But in the future, it will be sick.
I have always preferred house parties to any other kind of party.
Agreed. 100% agree. Well, here's the
There's
thing
just
about
something
house...
they get the energy is more up in house parties.
So I have a good house party story if you want to hear it.
Because everybody's more familiar. I do want to
Absolutely.
hear it. But you know what I'm saying? Like in a nightclub, it's filled with it's like you
people.
and your boys and mostly strangers.
Yeah.
The house party, mostly
and
everybody
you have
knows
to
each
spend
other.
money to get more drinks.
Yeah,
and
which
you have to
sounds
work,
like you have to do here too. But
well, yeah. Oh, okay, that's actually a good point.
But
That's a
like
good point.
usually, if you're in a house party scenario, you're like 1, maybe 2 degrees removed from everybody there.
True.
Right. It's less strangers, but
especially
of
if this is invite only. And also,
yeah.
like imagine this: would you rather pay $100 up front for an open bar at a house party all night with a
sounds like New
bunch of
Year's
people
Eve.
that you know, or would you rather spend $15 every trip to the bar to get separate cocktails? You know what I mean? I would rather do the open bar at a house.
The only thing there is then you got me thinking about New Year's Eve, where it's like, pay the $100 for never-ending champagne all night and dress up and be a fucking idiot. And I hated those. I hated those. But they were never at houses.
Okay.
They were always at hotels.
See, we had house parties or we had New Year's at a house the past 4 years. I've been to the same New Year's Eve house party.
Somebody that just has that fucking reputation for crushing a New Year's Eve party.
It's just like we did it 2 years in a row, and then it became one of those things where it was just expected that every year after we'll still go to the same house.
Okay.
And it's like significantly further out of the way than any of my other friends' houses. It's like 40 minutes away from my house.
It's just worth it.
Yeah, because it's the same people every single year. And it's like, it's a nice kind of full circle thing. So you see the same people at the beginning of every year. Every year it's been great so far. So the good vibes going into the new year are always at an all-time high.
Nobody's been shot, though.
Definitely not shot yet.
That's
You
good.
never know.
That's
There's
good.
usually a lot more weed than guns, which tends to make people not shoot each other.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you're less inclined to pop the Glock if you just smoked a doink.
I guarantee you, if you look at every shooting that's ever occurred at a party, and then you go back to the party and look at the ratio of weed to cocaine, the cocaine ratio is at least 51 to 49.
Cocaine ratio is too high.
Yeah.
Simple.
You got to
Simple
lower the
facts.
cocaine ratio and raise the weed ratio, and you lower your shooting percentage all around.
Wait, what's your house party story?
So one time, this is an infamous story in my family. We call it the epic. My parents decided to chaperone my sister's church ski trip, right?
Okay.
So I was 18 years old, almost 18. I was like a month away from being 18. This was January of 2017.
Okay.
And so they go out of town for the weekend. And so I had the house to myself. And for 3 nights in a row, I had like the same group of like 6 people come to the house. Like just my close friends. We had a nice little, we call them kickbacks where I'm from, which is like take a house party and then knock it down like 3 notches. That would be a kickback. So like smaller group, more chill vibes, not loud music. Everybody just kind of hanging out, talking. So night 3 rolls around. Parents are coming back the next day. This is the first night that like everybody is free to do something. So in my head, I'm like, well, mom and dad get back at like noon tomorrow. This is a horrible idea. This is a terrible decision.
Oh, sure.
And also the cleaning lady had just come by the week before, so the house was spotless when they left.
Ah.
I'm talking spotless.
Which you're not getting it back to that state.
Hell no, absolutely not.
You don't have the steady hands or the tools.
Not even close. And so, of course, dumbass me decides to, of course, throw the party because I, at that time, was trying to thrive in the party scene. It was like when I first started drinking. I think I had my first sip of alcohol like 2 months before that. I waited a while before
Honestly,
I started drinking.
nothing is more important when you're 18 years old than like house partying hard.
Exactly. And exactly. And so I have like a group of 20 people that I'm like really close with. And so I invite them. Only those 20 show up. I made it very clear. I was like, don't invite friends. I want it to be like this tight group.
Yeah.
And so I was expecting, because we kept it to the same close people, that we were going to be able to control it a little more.
Oh, no.
Opposite happened. Because, like you were saying, everybody knows each other. This is like, and it's all our senior year. And so literally I remember at one point the beat is about to drop to this remix to Blase, and I'm standing up on top of the kitchen counter like, it's senior fucking year, baby. Everybody put your drinks in the air. Ridiculous.
Oh,
Absolutely.
God.
There's a video that still exists to this day that we show around where like 4 people are dancing on the couch, 2 people are on top of the ottoman in the middle of the living room.
People.
Yeah. There's 2 girls that are standing in the kitchen blowing massive vape cloud. We had to have the hood vent on because there was so much vape smoke in the kitchen.
Oh, your poor parents.
It was bad. And so then yeah, I could have gotten in less trouble, and then I decide to hide what actually happened. They're like, "Chris, look at the fucking house. We know you had a party. We're not idiots."
There's footprints everywhere.
Everywhere. They were
How many
sticking-
people
it was
showed?
like 20. It was exactly 20. But it
So
turned
you didn't get fucked on the numbers.
didn't get fucked on numbers, but again, because
just
we
got out of
all were
control.
so close and such good friends, we just went so hard. And I still have friends that'll text me this day. If any of you guys that are at this party are listening, hit me up if you still remember it, because I have friends that text me this day that are like, yo, that was one of the better house parties I've ever been to. So do I regret it? No. Am I apologetic to my mom and dad for putting them through that stress?
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
My parents were fortunate in that our house was not like well suited for house parties.
Okay.
Okay, so like I threw what you called kickbacks.
Sure.
Pretty regularly, excuse me. But I had multiple friends in my close friend group who had houses that were perfect for this. One of them
Yeah.
lived on like, it was probably like an acre of land.
Oh, that's perfect.
There was like horses and shit on one side, but it was an open area for like, it was made for us to throw house parties.
This
it was
is what
on
you
this
want.
fucking discreet street off
Yep.
of Highway 6. It was not in a neighborhood, wasn't even connected to anything else. No street lights. Perfect.
So this is what you want for a house party. None of the amenities matter. You could literally be in a shack. You could be in a field. If you have an electrical
That's
hookup for a speaker and there's nobody around you to bother or for them to hear you, you're good. There's no stress, because that's the biggest thing. If you go to a house party in a neighborhood,
if you're hosting it,
yeah,
it's nonstop stress. Yeah.
all the time, especially if you're not 21 yet. I mean, let's be honest here.
Nobody that
drinks
throwing
underage in high
most
school.
people
So,
throwing house parties in
Are-
high school are not 21 years old, unless
exactly.
they've been held back repeatedly.
yeah,
for
and then
some
that brings
weird
on
reason.
a whole new issue.
It's just
issues.
it's just awkward.
Yeah.
You're the old guy,
Yeah,
and you're throwing the house parties.
it's a little suspect.
It's just weird.
But yeah, that's exactly what you're looking for. So how often do you guys throw house parties there? Or is there one
we
specific that
we
went crazy?
It was like every weekend that we could get his parents to agree to it, man. And it was like you just
they were in
described-
on it.
Yeah, they
Oh,
knew.
that's even
yeah,
better.
Yeah, all of our parents they handled my close immediate friend groups partying very well.
Yeah.
They knew we were going to do it no
Yeah.
matter what. So it's like, let's make it as safe as possible. The one thing that was like really that I will admit to being a massive problem was drinking and driving after the fact. And in Houston in particular, dude, like for whatever reason, as a city, it is just like a big drinking and driving city. I don't know if it's like this anymore necessarily, but when I was in high school in Houston, every fucking person drank and drove, and it was just it's a miracle that more of us didn't get got or hurt other people under those circumstances. It's like one of the things looking back on high school that I'm like,
holy
dear
shit.
Lord,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Why did we need to go to Jack in the Box every night after the house party ended? And it was like, thankfully, nothing for me and my people, nothing really terrible happened. We avoided tragedy, but it's incredibly unsafe. And we didn't have Uber and the shit that y'all have now, so just don't drink and drive is my point. House parties tend to lend themselves to drinking and driving. Don't drink and drive. But you described like field parties, right?
Yeah.
We never really had to fuck with that because this dude's house was essentially that, but with a house right there.
Yeah,
so it was like
so that's
the
huge.
best of both worlds. If you needed to take a shit, there was a bathroom inside.
Yeah.
But there was also the field if you wanted to like take off your clothes and shit yourself.
Because like I grew up in like it's a weird thing because I grew up in an area that's very nice, but also you drive 10 minutes, you're in the country. Fields everywhere, trucks everywhere, farms everywhere. And so I had my fair share of like crazy mansion house parties with beautiful pools right on the lake, $3 million, 5,000 square foot houses,
And then
et cetera,
field
et cetera.
parties.
And then I also had my fair share of somebody brought a pickup truck, is playing music out of the pickup truck with all the windows down, and everybody's drinking on the bed of the truck with one fire pit, and you're in the middle of this random ass field. Or like, so where I grew up too, there's a lot of neighborhood expansion, like a lot of brand new neighborhoods were being built. And it was a very normal thing to go to a neighborhood that was being built and find an empty lot that didn't have a house on it yet. And that's where we would have our field party.
Oh, y'all are pussies. We took it one level further.
Please don't. Did
Yep.
you? Oh,
we would party in the houses.
Nice.
So like one of my buddies' neighborhood was a gated community.
Yeah.
And like routinely, not always. Me and my friend group, we were like relatively respectful, and
Yeah.
we had the access to houses where we could throw parties like that one that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
But on occasion, there was jackassery.
Yeah.
And at one point, I remember
As there usually is.
we threw a party in a house that was being constructed still, and just I can't imagine what it was like for those guys to show up to work the next day. The construction guys to show up to work the next day and just be like, Oh, God damn it. Just beer cans everywhere, vomit, fucking
cigarette
condoms,
butts everywhere,
cig butts everywhere, bro. Just disrespectful.
Oh, I couldn't. How finished were these houses? Like walls on them yet?
Oh yeah,
or
like very, very much like
nice.
yeah, it was fucked up. It was real fucked up.
Yeah, it's a bit fucked up. Actually, one time there was a big event happened because of that situation at my high school. I wasn't personally at this party, but I had a lot of friends that were at this party.
Allegedly.
And then allegedly. And then and so the day after it happens, again, they go to so one of the moms was like a realtor, I guess. And I never got the full story if the mom actually said you could have some friends over and then it got out of hand. Like way more people showed up than were supposed to.
Very much against the realtor code.
Yeah, absolutely. But you never know with the Huff kids, seriously. Some of those parents like to party just as much as their kids did.
What are Huff kids?
That's where I went to high school.
Okay.
Huff High School. And so
Shouts to
I
Huff.
never got the full story if she had allowed, or if the mom had allowed it and let the kids go in and then they just invited way too many people, or if the kids somehow got like the lockbox code and went in. Regardless, party occurs at this house that they're working on selling.
Dear
There's
Lord.
cameras all throughout the house and everything like that. So at school the next Monday, a friend of mine gets a phone call. The phone call said, it was a voicemail. He didn't answer the phone because we were in school. And so he plays it on speaker, and it's like, hello, this is attorney so-and-so. We have camera footage of you, blank, at this address at this time. We know you were there. If you call us back and give us 3 names, we won't press charges. And so nobody was going to rat because they weren't sure how they could, like, actually, you know, like, make it, like, the connection happen. And then one person ratted and gave out 3 names, and then everybody ratted because everybody was like, oh, fuck this.
They all went full Tekashi.
And the fucking, listen to this, the attorney was so smart about it too because once she got one name, like legit name, she would call the person and she'd be like, well, so-and-so
gave up.
So-and-so already ratted on you and would give their specific name, so you might as well. And then it was just a snowball effect.
Classic investigative shakedown tactics.
Yeah,
That's what the
especially
police
for
do.
high schoolers.
They get you in 2 different rooms and they tell you that the other person already ratted on you, so you might as well give them up too.
Yeah.
When it's not true, they haven't said shit yet maybe, and the next thing you know, both of you are talking.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, and I actually forgot this wasn't during the school year. These kids, I remember they got the phone call when they were at Young Life Camp. So like we didn't have cell phones. They got a phone call.
Young Life Camp.
They got a phone call on the camp phone and got called to the camp office, and they were like, "Hey, there's an attorney on the line for you."
Oh.
Yeah, great way to start off.
Not what you want.
Young Life Camp, but yeah, good old Huff High School, man.
Never rat on your friends. And always
uh,
keep your mouth shut.
And don't have house parties during COVID, but have house parties when you can, because they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, last little bit here on this Los Angeles house party situation that's out of control in the Hollywood Hills. According to Hollywood United Neighborhood Council president and resident George Skarpelos, pre-pandemic, there were 10 to 15 parties each weekend night. Okay? That still sounds like, you know. First of all, George Skarpelos, I don't know if he's like, is he driving around counting the house parties?
No, he's got a personalized chopper.
I was going to say, it's the Hollywood Hills. Maybe he's got a chopper with
Yeah.
a spotlight, and he just goes,
That's
like,
his
1,
job. 1.
2.
Yep.
Wait, there's only 6 people there. That doesn't count. That's a kickback. 3, 4. He gets, 10 to 15 each weekend. He says now, quote, there's like 50.
What?
Which makes the Hollywood Hills sounds like it's just totally out of control with people raging all over the place, and I need to see footage of this, like from a chopper, which there are out there apparently.
There are, yeah.
Actually, we saw a little bit of this footage on CNN this morning.
It was
but it was
pretty
like,
hilarious.
The choppers aren't getting in close enough. They need better shots. I want to see like the bongs and the fucking, I'm talking beer bongs and like the flip cup, whatever else is happening there.
It's just the
Mostly
footage
the-
that
I
we
want the
shot
dancers.
was like a on a terrace style house going down a hill. Literally 400 people lining the rows of the house, just looking out over the Hollywood Hills. It was hilarious.
Just getting smashed
Getting litty.
to drown out the pain. It's house party season for the super spreaders.
My favorite thing about it, too, is that the LA government is saying we do actually have the power to shut their water off, but on first-time
And electricity.
violators... And electricity. But for first-time violators, we're choosing to educate, not enforce.
Oh, good.
Guys, let's be honest here. If they're at this point, they know exactly what the fuck they're doing.
Ah, yes.
Education is not going to do anything. Enforcement. That'd be hilarious. How funny would it be though if like the beat's about to drop and then the lights go off and the water just turns off at a 500-person LA Hills mansion?
Everybody at the same time.
What
You ever been in a house party where the power went out?
No.
I have.
Really?
Our fraternity house was a piece of shit. It was like the Animal House if the Animal House from Animal House was like 3 times shittier. That was our house.
Really?
Yeah.
That's shit.
No, it was shit.
That's like the term or that's like the quote from Moneyball, where have you ever seen Moneyball?
Yeah, I've seen Moneyball, but it's been a long time.
Where he's like, this is the league. Then there's 6 feet of shit. Or no, then he's like, then there's 10 feet of dirt. And then there's 6 feet of shit. And then there's us.
Oh, yeah, here it is. There are rich teams and there are poor teams.
That's what it is.
Then there's 50 feet of crap, and then there's us.
Yeah. That's where the what, KA?
Oh, Billy Bean.
KA house?
Mine was, yeah.
Yeah, that's where the old KA house lines in with the rest of Southern fraternity houses.
K-hey.
K-hey. Is that
Never,
the ladies
never
would say
said
to
that
you?
before. Nobody's ever, no. Huzzah! RBP 321 is also brought to you by Bird Dogs, makers of the most comfortable all-purpose shorts in the fucking world. You can literally wear them to do anything, anywhere, at any time. So what are Bird Dogs? They're gym shorts with a built-in silky soft inner liner that makes underwear completely obsolete. They're shockingly comfortable. Feels like you're wearing nothing, like you're just walking around half naked, wandering society without bottoms on like Winnie the Pooh. It's fantastic. They dry faster than a bathing suit. You can hit a workout in Bird Dogs, jump straight into the pool, get out, dry off in the sun, wear them to drive around in your Tesla because you have a Tesla now, then drive that Tesla back home, wash it with your golden retriever Elvis because you're wearing Bird Dogs and you can do anything. Anything. Go to birddogs.com, enter the promo code RBP when you check out, and they'll throw in a free Bird Dogs face mask. It's like a condom, but for your mouth. Free Bird Dogs face mask along with your pair of Bird Dogs. They're actually very high-quality masks. Beautiful, beautiful face masks. That's birddogs.com, code RBP. Boom. Free Bird Dogs face mask with your order. Enjoy your Bird Dogs. You will never want to take them off. They're a safe space for all your most valuable possessions. Next segment.
Grab your light, this is Stuff the Wikipedia when you're high.
Stuff the Wikipedia when you're high.
Oh, yeah. Today, we've got the 1958 Tybee Island mid-air collision as your Stuff to Wikipedia when you're high. One of the more outrageous Stuff to Wikipedia when you're highs that I've read. They're all outrageous, frankly. But this one, anytime they involve a nuke.
Yeah, it raises the stakes just a bit.
Just a bit. So the Tybee Island mid-air collision was an incident on February 5th, 1958, in which the United States Air Force lost a 7,600-pound Mark 15 nuclear bomb in the waters off Tybee Island near Savannah, Georgia, United States. Not some remote location off in the Pacific somewhere near an island where they test these things. Literally miles off the waters of Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah. Very close.
Scary stuff. During a practice exercise, an F-86 fighter plane collided with the B-47 bomber carrying the bomb. Problematic. To protect the aircrew from a possible detonation in the event of a crash, the bomb was jettisoned. The fuck does that mean?
They're just like, we don't want it anymore. Peace.
So they just dropped
They
it?
pooped it out. Yeah.
It means to throw or drop something from an aircraft or ship, abandon or discard something that is no longer wanted. So, to protect the aircrew
Yes.
from a possible detonation
Yep.
in the event of a crash, the bomb was just pooped out the back?
Correct.
Following several unsuccessful searches, the bomb was presumed lost somewhere in the Wassaw Sound off the shores of Tybee Island.
They literally lost a nuke.
A 7,600-pound Mark 15 nuke.
Do you know America has lost more nukes than we've dropped, than we've, like, detonated?
We've detonated
2.
We've dropped 2. We've detonated far more.
Okay.
Testing and shit.
Okay, I meant, like, actually dropped
Yeah.
for military use. We've lost more. And, like,
We're halfway there right
here.
here.
We've had more incidents of nukes falling on American soil and not detonating. We even talked about the one in North Carolina. The South should not exist anymore.
Based
Obviously,
on how many nuclear incidents we've had?
Exactly. And also, Ross, our military, right? If they were to have a training exercise, per se, would they shoot real bullets at each other?
I don't think so.
I don't think so
think
either.
that would
So
be,
why are they carrying real nukes on their fucking training exercises? Fill it with metal. Just fill it with lead. Let it have like a metal casing on the side of the bomb, on the side of the plane. I don't understand.
Fill it with something fun.
Confetti?
I don't know. Furbies?
Well, I'm just saying to, like, match the weight. Like, if they're trying to get an exact weight to practice a training run, fill it with sand. Why do you have to put explosives on a training run?
It's a 7,600-pound Mark 15 nuclear bomb. Just put it in there. It's no big deal. We'll practice with it.
Just throw it on.
Hey, look, I'd argue this. When you practice to play basketball, you don't use a fake basketball. You use the real basketball. The thing is, basketballs don't weigh 7,600 pounds and detonate with like a 3-mile blast radius that has the ability to take out hundreds of thousands of people. To my knowledge.
They usually don't. I'm sure a basketball out there may exist like that.
Dude, we got a deflated basketball issue at the Bolen Media HQ.
Yeah, we're dropping bombs on that hoop all day.
It's true. We also had to tighten up the hoop, the screws, the nuts, the bolts last week because I've been building brick houses. The rim became loose. But in all honesty, the basketball being deflated every morning is like something about that depresses me. So I had to order another one off Amazon. Back to the nuclear weapon thing. Some sources describe the bomb as a functional nuclear weapon, and here's where your thing comes in, Coles. Others described it as disabled.
Okay, but the thing about the disabled one, it just means that it didn't have the nuclear part in it. It was still a bomb carrying a couple 1,000 pounds worth of explosives in it, and it would still have detonated to about like I'm not going to quote it, but it still it could have blown up regardless.
Sure.
Just not a nuclear blow up, which would be obviously horrible. It doesn't really make any sense to me. Literally just have a metal casing of a bomb. I really don't understand that at all. Also, how the fuck do you hit another plane midair?
Yeah, that's the part that's like really ridiculous to me.
There's 3 axes of movement.
And it happens to be the plane that's carrying a nuke for a practice run?
I mean, I know they had radar back then.
Surely.
And communications and radio. Nobody thought to say, like, or there's so much air.
That's my radar noise.
Oh. That was pretty good, actually.
Here's what Wikipedia says. If it had a plutonium nuclear core installed, it was a fully functional weapon. If it had a dummy core installed, it was incapable of producing a nuclear explosion, but could still produce a conventional explosion. According to 1966 congressional testimony by Assistant Secretary of Defense W.J. Howard, the Tybee Island bomb was, quote, a complete weapon, a bomb with a nuclear capsule, end quote, and one of 2 weapons lost that contained a plutonium trigger. Everybody in Georgia is like, what? Sorry,
It's
what?
still there.
Say-
It's just chilling.
You said what now?
That good old hydrogen bomb just
chilling. You know how we know it's still chilling? Because on February 6, 1958, the Air Force 2700th Explosive Ordnance Disposal Squadron, which is a thing we have to have because we keep losing weapons, and 100 Navy personnel equipped with handheld sonar and galvanic drag and cable sweeps mounted a search. I can't even imagine being in the Navy, and they're like, all right, bro, here's what's up today. Here, take this handheld sonar.
Yeah.
Now swim your ass down there and try to find this nuke we lost.
Yeah.
Because
we could role play this if you want. It would go something like this. The officer's like, "Hey Fred, we have an assignment for you today." "Oh, what's the assignment today?" "Oh, well, some idiots lost a fucking nuke."
No, they jettisoned it.
Oh yeah.
They jettisoned it.
And then they lost it. And then they're like, "We don't know where it is. I don't know, somewhere down there."
What if they
It's just
jettisoned it
hanging
over
out.
a fucking landmass? Just fortunate that it was over the old Wausau Sound.
If that never would have
Sound
happened,
a body of water?
yeah.
You ever
It's
heard
like
that before?
Yeah, a sound. It's like a bay kind of. I'm sure it's different than a bay specifically, but it's similar to a bay.
It says a large sea or ocean inlet deeper than a bight and wider than a fjord. Ford. Ford Tough.
Fjord.
Built Ford Tough. Fjord?
Yeah, fjord.
Fjord!
Wait, I didn't know there were specific dimensions for all these different names for bodies of water and things like that.
Deeper than a bight, which is a B-I-G-H-T.
Oh. Also, I've been to Tybee Island, so if this would have blown up, I would have never gotten to go, and I never would have had the best crawdads of my entire life. So.
Oh, the best crawdads of your entire life.
Yeah,
on
fried
Tybee Island.
Uh-huh.
No shit.
Fried crawdads on this little beach shack. It's right next to this old military castle thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was delicious. Fantastic crawdads, fried crawdads. We had a lacrosse tournament down there every year.
Oh, great.
I didn't know I was eating within 20 miles of a nuke, though.
A bight, by the way, is a curve or recess in a coastline, river, or other geographical feature. It's also a loop of rope, as distinct from the rope's ends. We love learning new words here on the Ross Bolen Podcast. On April 16th, the military and this is still 1958. The military announced the search had been unsuccessful based on a hydrologic, that can't be a fucking word, Wikipedia. Maybe it is. The bomb was thought by the Department of Energy to lie buried under 5 to 15 feet of silt at the bottom of Wausau Sound. So the thing is just 5 to 15 feet underneath the silt.
Yeah. I saw that there were some records of fishermen and surveyors finding, like, heightened... They use Geiger counters to find heightened nuclear
the old
readings.
Geiger counter.
You know that thing? Yeah. But...
Fallout people, they all know that.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody
and
who watched
Chernobyl
fucking
people.
Chernobyl, we all know that.
Geigers have become a huge part of culture these days. A lot of focus on nuclear shit. Regardless, they're not sure if it's still there and readable and findable, or if they're just reading the naturally deposited, there's a sediment in the silt down there that gives off a natural radioactive reading. So they're not really sure if it's still there. They think it might still be there.
Fuck it.
I don't know. 2 Canadian divers in 2016 claimed to have found the bomb, a story that caught some virality, but it was later found to be a hoax.
Yeah, February 2015, a satirical news site ran an article stating that the bomb was found by vacationing Canadian divers and that the bomb had since been removed from the bay. That fake story spread widely via social media, otherwise known as fake news.
Fake news. I bet you that was a Snapchat Discover thing.
Probably was. Why the fuck have we not looked for it again since 1958?
I don't think they care.
Maybe take another run at it. I don't know.
At this point, I feel like it's just chilling down there. Might as well. Maybe some sharks have found that and are creating their own civilization around having a nuke.
Using it as power.
Exactly. They're like the next North Korea. Maybe that's why we do Shark Week. Maybe Shark Week is the government secretly keeping tabs on the sharks to make sure they don't find our forgotten H-bomb and use it against us. That's my theory, and I'm sticking with it.
RBP 321 is also brought to you by Quip, makers of the greatest toothbrush and oral care products in all the land and longtime supporter of this podcast. Obviously, all of our morning routines have changed in 2020. More than ever, it's important that when we're brushing, we brush effectively. If we're all stuck at home, we might as well make sure we have good breath and shiny-ass teeth when we get to pop back out into society sometime around 2022. Having new brush heads, toothpaste, and floss automatically delivered to the house when I need them, huge. So huge. I have everything delivered to the house at this point. Everything is delivered to my damn house, so why not new toothbrush heads, toothpaste, and floss as well? That's why I love Quip so much. My brush heads never get worn out and crappy. I never run out of toothpaste or floss, and after every brushing session, thanks to their 2-minute timer that buzzes every 30 seconds to ensure you achieve a full and even clean, I feel like I just left the damn dentist. 75% of us use old, worn-out bristles that are ineffective. Even more people forget to floss daily. Sad. Not me. Not us, buddy. Not with Quip. Good health starts with good habits. Quip makes it easy by delivering all the oral care essentials you need to brush and floss better. Quip brush heads, toothpaste, and floss refills automatically delivered on a dentist-recommended schedule every 3 months for just $5 each. A friendly reminder when it's time for a refresh and to stay committed to your oral health, and shipping is free. Join over 3 million happy customers and practice good oral care easily and affordably with Quip, starting at $25. And if you go to getquip.com/RBP right now, you'll get your first refill free. That's your first refill free at getquip.com/RBP, spelled GETQUIP.com/RBP. Quip, the Good Habits Company. Next segment, Hotline Calls. Our hotline here at the Ross Bolen Podcast is 888-WR-BOLEN. 888-WR-BOLEN. WR Bolen. Also my social media tag on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, but that's neither here nor there. 888-WR-BOLEN is the hotline. 2-minute limit on your calls. Call from somewhere nice and quiet. All right? Not in your car or cruising down the highway with the fucking windows down and you're on speaker. That's insane. We can't hear you, and nobody wants to hear the wind and the fucking cutting in and out. Be succinct. 2-minute limit. Give us a trash or not trash. Ask us a question. Throw out a hypothetical. Tell us a little story. Just keep it short as you can. Whatever you need there, the hotline is there for you. Some people just call it and vent. 2020 has been stressful as hell. Everybody's anxiety and mental health issues are popping up even high. Just say at the front of the call, I do not want this played on the show. If you're using it for those purposes, it is your little own personal vent therapist you've got there at 888-WR-BOLEN. I've pulled 3 calls to play today, Coles. Here's our first call.
absolutely brilliant tone there for the leaving a message. Anyways, it's Loman from San Rafael, California, and I have just a question about, I'm driving through traffic today, and I see like 5 just absolutely drop-dead gorgeous females on the road. And, 6 men. Holy. Anyways, wow. What do you do about that? Is there anything like?
What do you do?
What can you do about that? Is my question, really. So I'd love to know you and Chris's feedback on that. Love the pod, boys. Gang, gang, gang. It's your boy Lomond out.
It's Lomond.
Love Loman, man.
We know Lomond.
Gotta love that, man.
So Lomond, our boy, wants to know what to do about all the baddies in traffic. What can you do about that? He asks. He saw 6 drop-dead gorgeous females. What do you do about that?
Well, he saw 5. Oh, wait, no.
And then 6.
And then 6.
I
First
think
of all,
you drop dead.
You could. I would love to know where the 6 came from, because here's what I'm thinking. Well, first of all, we need a little more details. We need a little more details here, Loman. Are they in a car? Are they on the side of the road?
Isn't Lomond in L.A.?
No, he's
somewhere in California.
I think San Francisco. I want to say outside of San Francisco.
Okay, fair enough.
And so I'm sure there's baddies everywhere, but here,
Cali women.
See, we have a little bit of an advantage here because we know Loman, we know Luca, the man, the myth, the legend.
We do.
So here's what you do, Loman, because knowing you, and knowing your skills and your dashingly good looks, you hop out the car. I've seen your dance moves.
Ghost ride the whip.
Ghost ride the whip. Turn that music up. Get a little groove going. Shake your ass a little bit. They'll love to see it. They like the confidence. Then you hop back in, right?
And then you cruise
Turn
away.
on the airdrop.
Oh, God.
You have to, in your favorites of your phone, I'm sure all guys out there have a favorited airdrop ready photo with all your contact information on it. And if you don't, you're obviously not as good of a single guy as I am. Get that baby out. Get ready to go. Airdrop that shit onto all 6 of their phones at the same time. And then throw a selfie in right after. Say, I was the guy that was just shaking their ass for you out the window. Guarantee you, 6 phone numbers, 6 dates in the next 2 weeks. Maybe ask your girlfriend for permission first. But that's what you do. Let me know how it goes.
Focus on the road, Loman, you dangerous, horny bastard. Everyone is way too horny, both IRL and on the timeline during this pandemic. It's completely out of control.
It is. People are horny. People are really horny.
Everybody's just lonely and horned up. We've got every time we're on Twitch now, the chat at some point or another turns into this horny place.
I also think everybody on Twitch now uses it as their time to like relax, unwind, and have a drink while they're watching Twitch.
Yeah,
so
people
Twitch
are getting
chat,
fucked up in there.
Oh yeah, Twitch chat gets wild.
Suddenly everybody's demanding we show our nipples.
We have a code.
Yeah,
like if you
command.
type in a command, if you type in chat ! Nips, Nightbot yells at me to show my nipples.
Yeah, it says,
I get harassed.
Cole, show
sexually.
us those nubile nips.
They do say, show me those nubile nips.
In fairness, at one point we did show our nips because we said if we get to 200 subs tonight, we'll show our nips.
We did.
We also said at some points if we get a win, we'll take our shirts off, which we've done. So it's not like we didn't cause this. It's just now we don't know what to do to stop it.
I think we can also now put in our resumes we're part-time sex workers.
Yeah, we're titty streamers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is...
We're the best titty streamers you've ever seen, I'll be honest.
We've had lots of people on Twitch demanding Cole start an OnlyFans that's just nip shots, which we also can't do.
Well, we could.
I don't know what you're supposed to do about hot chicks on the road, though, Loman, and I think the shoe on the other foot is like... So if you're a chick and you're seeing a lot of hot dudes when you're out on the road, you just drive to you can continue to go from point A to point B and move on with your fucking life. What do you get? It's impossible to holler at people from a vehicle without being completely insane or ghost riding the whip and then dancing and then airdropping. That's just a lot.
I have been trying harder ever since we had our shoot our shot scenario, which, by the way, getting a lot of success stories.
A lot of people that listen to that have hit us up and said thank you because I've shot my shot now and I hit.
Also, one guy got fired for shooting a shot to his boss's daughter. Sorry about that. But,
that happens.
I mean, the effort was there.
The regret he will never live with.
No.
You can find another job.
And that's a great story moving forward. I guarantee you she was very impressed by it. You might even get a date even though you don't have the job. Regardless, I've been really trying to work on more out in public, see a cute girl. If you make a little bit of eye contact, give her a little blow a kiss.
That's fucking weird.
I don't know. I've been getting good success from it.
You can't blow kisses to people. I feel like
You got to get the eye contact first. You have to have the feeling that there's a little bit there. You have to have the immediate feeling of maybe a bit of sexual tension in the air.
Listen, fam, you blow me a kiss in public, I'm shaking my
Well,
head
I'm
at
not
you and
blowing
walking
you
away.
a kiss, Ross.
I'm saying for anybody out there, if they were considering blowing me a kiss in public, just keep that shit to yourself. I
Maybe
don't
a little
need your
wink?
COVID-infested kiss flying through
Little
the
wave?
air, smacking me in the face. Then I gotta decide: do I do the thing where I catch it and catch your kiss and then send one back to you or whatever? It's just this whole confusing
That's
situation.
what they've done every time.
Maybe that's the more safe move, Loman. Instead of ghost riding the whip, jumping out, shaking your ass, and then airdropping 6 people your contact information, you're just an indiscriminate kiss blower.
Or
Perhaps.
just like a little wave. I don't know. Do something to be noticed, though. Like if you make a little eye contact
say
and you're
you
in
dab.
public.
Same
Dab?
thing you do
Cam Newton style?
when somebody shoots the bird at you in traffic. You just hit the dab on
Well,
them.
if you're going to do it, though, you can't just give them this type of dab. I hope you're on youtube.com.
You got a hyper dab?
No, you got to do the Cam Newton dab. You got to give it
the pump fake?
the weight and then bring it in.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Right in their face.
That-
So that sets dominance right off the bat.
It's
right
still
off the
my
bat.
favorite Cam Newton, or it's still my favorite dab period ever recorded on a camera. The Cam Newton delayed dab.
God,
Because he
his
puts
dab-
so much spice on that thing, man.
He would get a first down on his own because he's a beast. He's 6'6" and can run over pretty much everybody on the field.
Cole's
and then
is a
he'd
big Cam Newton fan.
Huge Cam Newton fan. And then he would stand up after the first down. I can see it vividly. He would go, first of all, he would go forward. So he'd go like,
Christ, he's getting really excited here.
and then he would give it the hand twist.
Uh-huh.
And then he'd bring it down.
Unbelievable.
Excellence. I've never
Unbelievable.
seen so much black excellence on a field in my entire life than from Cameron Jarrell Newton.
Is his middle name Gerald?
Yeah, Jarrell.
It's not Gerald?
Jarrell. There's
Jarrell.
no D. There's no D. Yeah, Jarrell.
I'm a big Gerald guy.
I'm a huge Cam Newton stan.
I stand for everyone named Gerald, including the,
I don't know if there's any.
look, it's mostly Gerald Green
Okay.
on the Rockets. It's mostly because of, in Finding Nemo 2, Finding Dory, there's a sea lion named Gerald who plays a huge part in that movie. No spoilers here. Next call.
Hey, shout out Westside High School. Y'all are talking about losing shit. I thought it was funny back. I'm completely sober now. When I was back in college, I was on a lot of Xanax and partied quite a bit. So I'd black out and I'd lose things. And it got to the point where my parents went and made 15 spare keys for my truck in college. And I would get 2, and the rest would go to my brother. We went to A&M. Yeah, and every time I'd lose one, I'd just go to my brother's house, get a spare key, drive again. Granted, I probably shouldn't have had any keys to any type of vehicle at that time, but so that was my solution to that issue. Now, losing phones and wallets, that's a different story, but keys, solution. There you go. Gang, gang.
Okay, so the other day, Coles had a minor freak out, thinking that he had lost his wallet. That resulted in a conversation. We opened the show with talking about the worst things to lose. Well, this guy, our caller, was apparently a habitual car keys loser to the point that his parents made, did he say 15?
He did say
spare
15.
sets of keys?
Yeah,
What the shit, man?
that's insane.
Pull yourself the fuck together. That's just too many sets of keys.
I want to know how many keys he lost before his parents made the 15 sets. Because this had to occur multiple times for his parents to finally break and be like, fuck it, we're just making 15 extra keys.
And wouldn't more importantly as a parent, you'd be like, why are you losing so many sets of keys? Something is off here. Something is and again, don't, Xanax isn't a party drug, folks, kids, sing. It's not a party drug.
It's not.
It's not a party drug. It's a
blackout drug.
fucking anxiety relief medication. For Christ's sake, stop taking Xanax to party. Bars
How did he
are not
get
fun.
over to his...
That's not tight. It's not the mood. Driving on Xanax is probably one of the more dangerous things a human being can do.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
glad our caller's still alive and still with us. I don't like knowing there are 15 sets of keys out there that have access to my vehicle.
No, that's crazy.
Especially not in my brother's hands.
Also-
Brothers fuck with each other a lot.
That's what I was going to say. If I ever found out one of my boys had 15 sets of spare keys to his truck and his brother was in possession of multiple of those
I'm
keys.
scooping a couple.
Oh, I'm definitely hitting his brother up and fucking with him. Moving, even little things like moving his truck from one side of the parking lot to the other.
Or
while
just one
he's-
space over.
Yeah, I don't even think I would notice one space.
You'd
Maybe a
notice.
couple space. You think so?
Subconscious. Yeah, dude, your car's one space over.
And you're just like, huh,
Wait a minute. Was
did
it?
I?
I guess it would depend which parking lot you were in, but yeah.
Yeah. But just fucking with him subtly all the time would be fantastic.
Don't lose your keys. It's one of, for sure, one of the worst things you can lose is your set of keys, man.
But you can't really do that anymore unless you're getting the basic spare keys that just has the key on it, because a key fob is like $100 these days. To replace that electronic key fob,
Oh, bro, I haven't had the ability to press a button
Mm-hmm.
and lock or unlock my car since 2016.
really?
Because I refuse to pay for the goddamn key.
Because it's probably another $100.
It's like a $320 key.
Shit.
I just use the shitty-ass spare.
Lexus.
I'm old school as fuck with it, dude.
You
I
just
put the key in and I twist. A lot of y'all are rolling around with shit in your purse that just recognizes you're fucking near your car and unlocks it for you. Not
And
Bill.
that's even worse. If you have a keyless entry, oh, you're screwed.
Bill don't play that.
At that point, you should get a necklace.
The 2015
Maybe that's what we
Lexus
should-
ES does not have the technology to support a fob of any kind.
Our new business venture could be stylish necklaces that people can clip their keyless entry keys into.
2005. I said 15.
I was going to say, your car is definitely not a 2015.
It's a 2005.
I think we should trick it out. Can we please?
We're going to rip out the interior one day and have it completely redone and leave the outside all shitty.
Can we do bench seats?
Nobody's going to know. I don't know if we can fit bench seats. You mean bucket seats?
No.
What are bench seats?
The ones that are just flat across.
Car
Like,
bench
instead of...
seats.
You have bucket seats right now. A bench seat would just be a straight across seat. So you could sit 6 people
Oh, this is
on the
like old
inside.
school as hell.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Oh.
we make the inside look like something out of a 1980s Cadillac, but we keep the outside looking like Lexus, except we engine swap it, put in a really fast engine,
yeah.
we're just smoking fools on the highway.
Yeah, and then all I need is a driver. I have half of one in you. Yeah.
Wait, half of one?
Yeah, you're like a half a driver. I mean, we drive to the studio and back to the house and shit, but a full-time driver would be like, I
Oh,
need to
okay,
go
okay,
anywhere. You got to take me.
I did drive you to Waco.
That's true. During your interview process.
Correct.
I trapped him in a vehicle for 3.5 hours.
It was dropped in so subtly. It was so funny. When I was coming down, I had already booked the plane ticket and everything like that. And he's like, "Yeah, and then on Saturday, we'll just hop in my car and you'll just drive me to Waco and back to pick up my dogs." And I was like, "Sure."
Thank fucking God we don't have to do that anymore. Next and final call.
What's up, Ross? Happy College Grandparents Month. It's a tough one because, yeah, my mom's mom died a couple of days ago, and her dad died a little over a year ago. Just it's not that bad for me, but losing both your parents, it's got to be tough. Luckily, I still have 2 on my dad's side, but yeah, just make sure to call your grandparents because it's not an easy thing to do when they're not around. So, on another note, played some Warzone with you the other night and got a dub, so that's pretty tight. Keep going, Doug. I really enjoy your show. So, gang, gang, gang.
All right, right now some of you are like, damn, dude, way to end the segment on a fucking downer. And no. This is not a downer. This is a reality check. This is the realness. This is why we do Call Your Grandparents Month every August. Because life is fleeting, and all too often, we take that fact for granted. To lose a grandparent is heavy shit. To see your parents losing their parent is heavy shit. Because one day, that'll be you. And we're all going to die. As Arian Foster so eloquently reminded us on episode 136, aptly titled, We're All Going to Die, with Arian Foster. So it's not just that you're watching, that you lose a grandparent. It's also that you watch your parent lose a parent. And it's also a reminder to you that one day you are going to lose your parents. That's what makes it so difficult. And that pain is certainly multiplied if you feel regret over not having taken the time to speak enough with these people, to spend enough time with these people, because they're your blood, your family, the people that you should be the closest to in the entire world. And in the case of your grandparents, as we've repeatedly pointed out over the course of every August, the last 3 at least, they're filled with knowledge and wisdom from the long life they've lived, the shit that they've seen, the things they've endured, the things that they didn't endure. And that's there for you to soak up, and they want to share that with you and have somebody, especially like we've said, man, during this 2020 shit, like most of our grandparents are pretty locked down, pretty isolated.
Yeah.
And they could use the company, and it's one of, like, we hear from so many listeners saying thank you for Call Your Grandparents Month because they've already lost theirs. And in the case of this caller, he obviously has 2 on his dad's side still, but that's something that you don't want, you know? And that people that have lost both their grandparents already, or both on both sides, will call in and say, like, thank you for reminding people of this. I wish I had had something more like this when my grandparents were still alive, because as our caller said, it gets pretty fucking difficult to call them when they're no longer with us. So it's not that I want to hit y'all with the sadness on a Monday. It's that I want to remind you why this August and why Call Your Grandparents Month is so important, but this one in particular, because there is no escaping that fact that we are not going to be here forever, that our parents are not going to be here forever, our grandparents are not going to be here forever. But there isn't ignoring it. And I have done that a lot of my life. It's not something that I've, like, been immune to, or that I figured out as a fucking small child, like, to not take for granted. Like, it's something that I'm still learning on a day-to-day basis. Like, I didn't even remember it was Call Your Grandparents Month until, like, August 4th when Zoe on Patreon fortunately reminded us. Shouts to Zoe. Just because it's been such a hectic time period for me. And that's the thing. It's like, it's so easy to get wrapped up in your own shit.
Absolutely.
And forget that it's so not about a lot of the shit that you're wrapped up in. Life is about family, friends, experiences, and sharing them with humans. Mm-hmm. Sharing them with the other humans. And your grandparents give you the ability to do that at a more effective clip. Yes. If you talk to them and listen to them and take the knowledge that they have to offer, if you're fortunate enough to have one that's lived a great life and a long life like I am in a few instances at this point. So, with a few grandparents left, I mean. It's just something that I wanted to impress upon y'all again. I really appreciate the call, dude. I really appreciate you playing Warzone with us on Twitch as well and getting a win with us. That's fucking huge. I have not won that many games. We pulled up my win counter the other night. I have like 9, I think.
It's not much, yeah.
It doesn't happen often.
So thank you to this dude.
Yeah, so thanks for helping being part of the squad that got us a dub. It's I hope it lifted your spirits at least partially. And that's what we are all about. Mm-hmm. Here in as this community as a whole, the RBP gang, this podcast, what we're doing on Twitch, it's about bringing people together and giving people a place to go when they need it. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So to hear that it worked in this case, it brings me a lot of joy. To hear that you lost your two grandparents in the last year, I'm very, very sorry. And it's honestly, it's a day that I dread.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like I said, I spoke to the last week or the week before. The only grandparent I've lost at this point was my dad's dad, and it was in such a place that in the middle of college, and like I didn't really get to process it. We didn't have a funeral. It wasn't like one of the. It never felt real.
Absolutely.
I just never saw the man again, right? But like there will come a day where I lose my grandma, I think she's about to turn 91. And it's going to it's going to crush me.
Absolutely.
It'll be one of the worst days of my life. And it is coming inevitably because we all fucking die. So I want to make sure that I have as many conversations with that woman as I can before it's her time to go, and that she's had the ability to tell me fucking anything she wants to, which at this point I think we've accomplished somewhat. But anyway, Cole's your thoughts.
And loss is a very difficult thing. It's very tough to deal with, and there's books and manuals and everything like that you can read, but it's different for every single person.
Read the books. Read the manuals. What books? What manuals? Sorry, dude. You said books and manuals. I have to do the thing.
That's probably where it came from, honestly. But it's a very difficult thing, and everybody deals with it in their own way. And they deal with it differently based on what you may think of the afterlife or anything like that. But consistently is a reminder that life is finite. And I think it brings into question again, what is the point of why are we here? How do we make an impact on this world? And when somebody passes, it's a reminder to celebrate the legacy that they have left behind. And a lot of the importance to me in Call Your Grandparents Month is that your grandparents already have such a legacy. If they've made it this long, they've impacted countless people in their lives.
The fact that you're even here is a testament to
their legacy.
Their legacy, because
their literal,
you are quite literally part of it.
Legacy. And I think it is on us to do everything that we can to ingest all of their information, all of their love, everything that they've used to get to where they are in life.
Because that's what we want.
Because that's what we want. And use that legacy to allow them to live on. And it's on us to take in as much of that legacy as possible. And that's where Call Your Grandparents Month comes into play. That's why we want to remind you guys, reach out to your elders, talk to them. And not just your grandparents, anybody in your family as well, but specifically with your grandparents, you have a finite amount of time to take in as much of their legacy as possible. And so you want to use as much of that time as you can, so you can spread their legacy throughout the rest of your life, so that their legacy can be fruitful and grow, and the labors of their work and effort can bear fruit. So
that they're not for nothing, basically.
Yeah.
To take like that generational growth is something that I speak to a lot, and it's like I fully intend on my kids and their kids being in a better spot with more knowledge than I was. Like, that's the idea. Build. And you can't really build if you're not willing to talk to the people who came before you to find out what's what. Because you can only learn so much on your own. And as somebody who is like an admitted jackass when it comes to, like, I learn all my hardest life lessons by, like, causing pain and destruction to myself, basically.
Sure.
That's completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
You could just talk to your fucking parents and grandparents and learn shit that way.
And that's why we do what we're doing now, because we want to be able to share the pain and heartache that we've been through to allow other people to grow from those experiences, so they don't have to experience that same emotional trauma.
Very similarly, yes.
And vulnerability and everything like that down the line. We want to be able to help everybody else grow and leave a legacy in that way. But it all really comes down to, you want to do your part to leave the world in a better place than you found it. You want to do your part to see the world as big picture, to grow and to love others. And your grandparents, the love that they give to you, a love that a grandparent gives to a grandchild, is unlike anything else. You want to take in as much of that as you can, talk to them as much as you can, and then when the time comes that they do inevitably pass, you're going to have your mourning phase, but then use the time after that to celebrate their life in its fullest extent. Use the time after that to pass their good deeds along, to help other people grow, to pass on their knowledge and their love, and use their love to expand outwards and love outwards, love generously, love fully, love deeply. That's what's the most important thing. That's what Call Your Grandparents Month is a reminder of. To come back and to love fully and to share your legacy and to do your best to leave a little part in the world, make your impact.
And for those of you who are listening that don't have grandparents, as Chris said, it's and we hear from a lot of people. It goes both ways. We'll hear from people who are like, I really love what y'all are doing with Call Your Grandparents Month because I lost all my grandparents and it means a lot. And we'll hear from people who are like, man, it's really hard to hear y'all talk about Call Your Grandparents Month because I don't have grandparents. Then it's just a concept that you can extend to your parents, your aunts and uncles if you want to. Really, it doesn't even. Maybe you've got no family.
Yeah.
Then just squat up with some older people and find a way to connect with some older people. And I mean, it's the thing, I don't want to, like, it's a random weird example, but like in AA meetings, I met a lot of older people who had been through and seen a lot of shit that I hadn't seen or hit yet. And it helped me know what to avoid, what pitfalls to avoid. It was so much knowledge picked up in those rooms from people who had lived 2-3 times longer than I had that gave me the ability to see why I needed to personally cut alcohol out of my life. Like, that was a big part of me making that decision, was seeing these people who had been through so much more than me and knew so much more than me, and basically them telling me, here's what's going to happen if you continue down this road. And your grandparents offer you that with all aspects of life, whether it's love, your professional career, family, managing political situations, current, like everything going on in the world right now. I'm sure your grandparents have a lot to speak to it. And now, of course, that also comes with the fact that they lived during several different eras that you did not.
Yeah.
And their outlook on shit might not be something you need to emulate, but it's about taking from it, feeling it out, learning from it, and making sure that it's not just for naught. It's not just something they roll with when they head out, that you get some of that.
I read an incredibly powerful article the other day written by a woman who was interviewing a 90-year-old that was going through this pandemic, right? And the conversation was, how do you feel with this pandemic going on, with the way the world is, the way all the headlines look these days and everything like that? And he said, his response was incredible. His response was, I wouldn't have made it this far if I lived through all the headlines I saw in the newspaper every day. If my day was defined by the headline that I saw first thing in the morning, I would not have made it this far in life, because there have been countless more bad headlines than positive headlines.
Oh, God, yeah.
So the headlines that I live through, this is somewhat quoting him.
Paraphrasing, yeah.
Paraphrasing. The headlines that I live through are the headlines that I create every day. Man makes wife breakfast. Man loves daughter well. Those type, do you get what you're living? The world is large, and you want to be able to take the world in as a big picture, but at the same time, you have to be able to see what is important on your own scale.
Oh,
and
for sure.
grandparents that have lived through so many times of world collapse and trial and error and days of hysteria, wars,
economic
and famine
collapses,
and economic collapses. They've lived through all of this before, and they know that the way to thrive and succeed in your own life is to control what you can control. Focus on what you can focus on. Create positivity in the areas that you can create positivity in, because those are the areas of your life that you're going to be able to leave an impact on both yourself and on everybody around you.
Now I'm just imagining somebody calling their grandparent who's in like a federal penitentiary because they killed 6 people in the 1970s and are a serial killer. And obviously there are stipulations to the circumstances that can change things. You may have shitty grandparents. Still call them. Just know that they're shitty, and then try to avoid ending up like that. But hopefully you have great grandparents. Anyway, call your grandparents. Call the hotline. 888-WR-BOLEN, 2-minute limit. Be clear. Be succinct. Ask a question. Throw out a hypothetical. A trash or not trash. Tell us a story. Give us a meaningful, serious piece of your fucking soul like that caller just did. Do your thing. The hotline is there for you, 888-WR-BOLEN. And then, of course, I must mention everybody on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast supporting the show by pledging a minimum of $5 each month in exchange for an additional ad-free premium episode of RBP every Friday. They have their own hotline exclusively for the dues-paying members of the RBP gang, and we've been doing episodes where we play a bunch of those calls. It's much easier to get played on there, where we sorted through, 20 calls-ish on last Friday's episode, whereas the normal 888-WR-BOLEN hotline gets hundreds and hundreds of calls a week. It's very difficult to get played there versus the other one. So, that being said, that's our hotline segment for today. Next segment, sports? We got problems, Chris.
Slight problems.
We got big problems. College football was always something that we were curious how this would be pulled off, right?
Yeah.
The NFL, the same thing.
Correct.
Now, basketball has the bubble.
Yes.
PLL had the bubble.
Yes.
There are sports that the bubble works for, and there are sports that you simply cannot pull off a bubble strategy. You just cannot. The NFL and college football being two where that is clearly fucking impossible.
And the NFL is at a severe advantage to college football. College football presents itself with an insane amount of other challenges that the NFL just doesn't even have to worry about. I have friends of mine that have been back on a college campus for 2 weeks, and I've seen 50-plus person parties and events occurring every other night. And so that's something that a college is just going to be there. If
Right.
you're allowing students on campus,
You're going to have
it's
outbreaks.
just going to be there.
Yeah.
And the NFL at least has an inherent ability to bubble-esque their operations a little bit more. They can isolate people, require them to...
They can try.
Well, they can do their best to. College can't really do that. Unless they're going full-on bubble with it, unless they're keeping students
They can't,
fully
though.
enclosed with the team, but they can't.
They
as
can't
far
pull-
as
they
we
can't
as
pull-
far as we tell, they
It
can't.
just
pull
doesn't
it
even
off.
make it wouldn't even, I don't even know what that theory would look like. Like how they would even pull that. And so
I mean,
point
what
is,
was like a month ago, Clemson brought students back on and like 60% of the football team tested positive or something like that, and they all had to go home.
no idea.
Continue, though.
But the Power 5 conferences are talking about no longer doing fall football. Commissioners of all of the Power 5 conferences held an emergency meeting last night. Growing concern among college athletics officials that the upcoming football season and other fall sports can't be played because of the coronavirus pandemic, sources told ESPN. Apparently no major decisions have been made yet, but it is sounding like they are not going to do this. They are not going to have college football, that the Power 5 conferences, if they're out, everybody's going to be out. I don't know if they maybe pull together some type of shorter, different type of looking season at a later time. I have no idea. But everything that we've heard and read based on the last several days, college football is looking quite fucked, which I have to imagine the NFL will get fucked too. I mean, it's hard for me to see circumstances in which they actually pull this off. Now, they did equip all the NFL players with Whoop bands today, so that's following. They're only 2.5 months behind the PGA with that move, but good for them. I just don't see it. Honestly, it's not something that for me is that I'm going to miss at this point, where it's fucking August, bro.
Yeah.
We're 8 months into 2020.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm definitely gonna miss it, but I've had so much.
I feel like
time
I already
to kinda
did that
prepare.
though.
Yeah, I've already had the stage of we've been in this for so long now that it's just another bump in the road type of thing. It's gonna suck.
Football go probably in March.
Yeah.
Where I was
Football
like,
was
there's no fucking way.
Football was the thing where I was like, I highly doubt we'll have football in the next year.
And there
it just
people
doesn't
were
make
like,
sense.
well, look at the masks they're going to be wearing. And I was like,
or people were like,
fucking what?
We had football during World War II. Why can't we have football now? Well, this isn't World War II, guys. Let's remember that this is a contagious pandemic, not a world war.
Slightly different
Little bit
circumstances.
different. Yeah.
In other sports news, unfortunate for football. Sorry, rest in peace, college football. And hopefully we can still get the NFL. But again, I doubt it.
What are college guys going to tailgate on Saturdays now? Because they're still going to tailgate something. Or are they just going to have to go to pumpkin patches with their dates now?
What are you talking about? They're going to throw house parties with these club organizers.
I don't know. I feel like the girlfriends are going to be like, you don't have football to go to anymore. You need to come and do a date day with me.
Fuck that.
That's
Who
what
goes
I
on
think's gonna
dates in
happen.
college? Unless it's a date party. Preferably at a house. In other sports news, the PLL championship was on Saturday? Sunday, yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was the Chaos and the Whip Snakes, correct?
Yeah.
The Whip Snakes were a heavy favorite.
They were. They're the reigning champions, as well as going undefeated in group play and the elimination games, obviously, while the Chaos lost all of their group play games and then won against the number 2 seed, Chrome, to start out their elimination game bracket, and then made it somehow to the PLL championship. And they took a 6-2 lead. They had momentum on their side. They had some incredible hype videos that got Ross to drop some money on the Chaos because he did not think that he could bet against the passion that came from their coach.
Well, also you told me.
I did say that. I had a good feeling as well. I definitely had a good feeling that the Chaos were going to keep the momentum rolling. And they did keep the momentum rolling and jumped out
6-2.
6-2 lead.
6-2. The game is fucking over in my mind. I don't know dick about lacrosse.
We're not even watching anymore. We're focused fully on setting up Ross's computer because he was so confident that the Chaos were going to lock this up. And
the next thing I know, it's 6-3. And then they scored 4 goals, the Whip Snakes did, in under a minute, I want to say, or
it was
something like
3 goals,
3 goals
in
in
1
under
minute.
a minute.
It was 2 goals in 21 seconds.
Things went horribly wrong is the point. It was a brutal beat.
You know what the final score was?
No, I don't. What is it? What was
12-6.
How the so it went from 6-2 to 12-6. Complete and utter choke job. It's like missing 27 threes in a row in the NBA playoffs or something.
Falcons Patriots level choke job.
What a brutal beat. Lacrosse is insane though. Thoroughly enjoyed watching that the bit of the final match, the PLL championship that I did get to watch though. Wish it had come with a gambling dub. It did not in this case, which brings us to our next topic, the NBA playoffs. So for those of you who are wondering how the frick does the NBA work, I finally Googled it. After a month of talking about NBA basketball, I finally Googled it to see exactly what the hell is happening. So there's 8 games in this seeding pre-playoffs schedule for each team. Each team is playing 8 games before the playoffs start. So we're like 4 or 5 into that. There's only a few left. The playoffs literally begin August 17th. That's 7 days from today. Okay? The 8 games they played were selected from each team's remaining regular season matchups. 8 games to determine the seeding. Remember, they had a bunch of games before the shutdown. So those are being considered as well in the seeding situation. The playoffs start August 17th. The conference semifinals begin August 31st. The conference finals begin September 15th, and the NBA finals will start September 30th. So from August through September, we're going to have NBA playoff basketball, which for those of you who are like, normally the NBA playoffs feel like they're about 4 months long. So this will be 1 month. 7 teams in each conference with the best records, regular season and seeding games counting. These 8 games are called seeding games specifically. They are not regular season games. The 7 teams in each conference with the best record will have clinched a playoff spot. The usual tiebreaker scenarios will be in place for those seeds. The 8th seed could potentially come down to a play-in tournament. So if the team with the 8th best record in its conference is 4 games or fewer ahead of the team with the 9th best record in the same conference, there's a battle for the final spot between those teams, and it's going to be like a best-of-2 series where the 9th seed will have to win 2 head-to-head matchups to take over the number 8 spot, which is kind of just a cool random wrinkle in the NBA play. The one silver lining to all this crap destroying our sports year, along with most of the other things we enjoy doing, at least, like, that's the thing. Sports serve as a distraction from real life and give us something fun to watch and do that has nothing to do with our own personal shit. We root for teams. We love certain players or whatever. The one silver lining is that we're getting a very special, weird version of the seasons that do get to take place.
Absolutely.
The PLL thing in the bubble, incredible.
20 games in 2 weeks is pretty, especially for lacrosse, trying to grow the game and get exposure out there. That was huge.
And seeing the video, they had all these like family and friends and girlfriends and sending videos of themselves telling the players that were about to play in the championship, like, we're so proud of you. Can't wait to have you home. We miss you.
Good
There's
luck.
just special circumstances to obviously the NBA being probably the most extreme. We're going to see a different version of playoff seeding than we've ever seen and will likely, hopefully, ever see again. It's just everything feels, all these players in the NBA are much more rested as a result of a lot of time off. There are players who didn't choose to opt in and play. So teams that don't have their full breadth of play of their usual players, it's going to be crazy.
One thing that to go off of your distraction point, how sports offer a distraction to normal life. The NBA, I would say, of all the leagues that are attempting to do sports right now, have done the best job with making you forget they're playing during a pandemic. When you're watching the games, you can kind of forget about the lack of a crowd, and you can kind of forget about the circumstances. They've created a really good production effort to suck you into that environment and make you feel like you're watching a very normal NBA game.
Versus baseball, which feels like you're watching spring training.
Yeah, baseball
with,
has been.
No fans.
It's so awkward to
Very
watch
strange.
the baseball games. But yeah,
Outbreaks
the
keep
NBA is doing a
happening there.
fantastic job there. It's been quite the distraction. It's been really exciting. I'm usually not an NBA guy, but I've been watching so far. It's been very exciting. TJ Warren, he's might be my new boy. He's just very exciting to watch right now, and I love that he beat the Lakers the other day, like pretty much single-handedly.
Lakers are a mess.
With the Pacers.
Love it.
It's been exciting.
Yeah,
Sports.
So I'm stoked on the NBA playoffs. Those of you who have been following me for a long time know that far and away the NBA and the NBA playoffs are my favorite thing every single year. I watched some hockey yesterday, too. That was interesting. And you know we have a sponsor for sports betting. It's mybookie.ag. And with MyBookie, it's simple. You bet, you win. They pay with thousands of lines and a host of props. MyBookie's the only name you need to remember when it comes to getting action in on the games you watch. Join today, and MyBookie will double your first deposit for being a listener of the Ross Bolen Podcast. And not only will they match you dollar for dollar with whatever you throw in, they're also throwing in a free $10 NBA future bet, so you can throw a $10 future bet on who you think will win. Maybe a playoff series, maybe it's just a championship, whatever. Any NBA future bet you can throw down on. All you have to do is enter the promo code RBP on mybookie.ag when you're signing up to claim that deposit bonus and that $10 NBA future bet. Of course, there are stipulations that apply. When you do get free money from a online casino or regular casino, there is a rollover involved. You have to bet X amount before you can cash out. Otherwise, it would literally be just if you put in $100 and they give you another $100 and then you could cash out, we'd all be rich, and there wouldn't be any casinos or online sports books. So with mybookie.ag, you sign up, you enter the promo code RBP, claim your 100% deposit bonus, your $10 NBA future bet. Make sure you read how it works. And remember, at MyBookie, the terms are simple. You bet, you win, they pay. Sports! Go low, baby. Before you head out to take on the world, it's time for some very important announcements. First and foremost, as a result of having listened to this entire podcast episode, you've been saddled with 3 legal obligations, whether you like it or not. The first of which is to rate and review. If you watch on YouTube, that's great. Love you. Rate and review on Apple Podcasts. If you watch, or if you listen on Spotify, I don't even know if they have a rating and review system. Rate and review on Apple Podcasts. If you listen on Sound, if where you do listen has a rate and review system, rate and review there. But if it doesn't, Apple Podcasts, take the 2 minutes to give us 5 stars and write a quick 2-3 sentence review about why you love the show.
Be huge.
Check that box and move on to number 2, which is to share the show with one person this week, one person next week, one person every week until the week you die. It could be a friend, a family member, a coworker, a neighbor, any one individual you think, well, this person would really enjoy the Ross Bolen podcast. Share the show with them then. And then your third and final legal obligation. You must use our sponsor codes. Today we have 4 for you. Thank you to all of our sponsors supporting the show. Raycon, go to raycon.com/Ross. Quip, go to getquip.com/RBP. Bird Dogs, go to birddogs.com and use the code RBP. And, of course, mybookie.ag, code RBP. Follow us on Instagram at the Ross Bolen Podcast, on Twitter at Ross Bolen Pod. We're also on Facebook if you are Cole's mom, the middle-aged aunt of one of our listeners, or anyone in any age group that partakes in the Zuck Suck. Follow me, Ross Bolen, on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at WRBolen, at WRBOLEN. And again, follow us on twitch.tv/BossRollin for notifications every time we go live on Twitch with the new streaming setup. Chris, where can everyone follow you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Q0ULS. You can find me on Instagram at ChrisSC99. And you can find me on Snapchat at Chris_Coulson. That's COULSON. If you want to get in touch with me, hit me up on Snapchat. I usually respond quickest there.
Check out Bolen Media's television and film podcast, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, available wherever you listen to RBP. This week we'll be covering the Perry Mason finale, HBO's Perry Mason, the season finale of Season 1. Aired last night. I'm about halfway through it. Going to watch the other half today. No spoilers. Also covering Season 1 of The Great on Hulu in full, in its entirety this week on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. Last week we did Denzel Washington's top 5 movies. We also covered general TV and film news every week in the form of a segment called Tidbits and Such with Barrett. My co-host, Mr. Barrett Dudley, has been one of my best friends for 17 years. We have a lot of fun. OCC is great. Again, you can listen wherever you listen to RBP, and you can watch on youtube.com/Bolen Media. That will do it for RBP 321, produced by Grant Davis and Mike Moody Garcia of Permanent Record Studios in Austin, Texas. We will be back on Wednesday, Coles and I, with RBP 322, and of course Friday on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast with another exclusive premium ad-free Friday episode for dues-paying members of the RBP gang, pledging their monthly support to keep the podcast showing and growing. Minimum of just $5 monthly on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. Come through, support the show, get more RBP. You are not alone. Podmen get paid. Respect Mr. Park. Strength and honor. Gang, gang, gang. Cole, say it.
Peace be with you, and also with you.